Hello people, today we are going to learn about planning process, group project management processes, plan risk responses. Plan risk responses is the process of developing options and actions to enhance opportunities and to reduce threats to project objectives. The key benefit of this process is that it addresses the risk by their priority, inserting resources and activities into the budget, schedule, and project management plan as needed. The input involved are risk management plan, risk register. Tools and techniques are strategies for negative risk for threats, strategies for positive risk or opportunities, contingent response strategies, and expert judgment. The output is project management plan updates and project document updates. So let's learn about inputs one by one. The first input is a risk management plan. Important components of risk management plan include roles and responsibilities, risk analysis definition, timing of reviews, and for eliminating risk from review, and risk threshold for low, moderate, and high risk. Risk thresholds help identify those risks for which specific responses are needed. The next input is risk register, which refers to identify risks, root cause of risk, list of potential responses, risk owners, symptoms, and warning signs. The relative rating or priority list of project risk requiring responses in near term, risk for additional analysis and responses, trends in qualitative analysis, results, and watch list, which is a list of low priority risk within the risk register. Let's learn about tools and techniques. So first tool and technique is strategies for negative risk or threat. Three strategies which typically deal with threats or risk that may have negative impact on project objective if they occur are avoid, transfer, or mitigate. The fourth strategy is accept, can be used for negative risk or threat as well as positive risk or opportunities. Avoid. Risk avoidance is the risk response strategy whereby the project team acts to eliminate the threat or protect the project from its impact. It usually involves changing the project management plan to eliminate the threat entirely. The project manager may also isolate the project objective from the risk impact or change the objective that is in jeopardy. Example of this include extending the schedule, changing the strategy, or reducing scope. The most radical avoidance strategy is to shut down the project entirely. Next strategy is negative risk threat is transfer. Risk transfer is risk response strategy whereby the project team shifts the impact of the threat to a third party together with the ownership of the response. Transferring the risk simply gives another party responsibility for its management, but it does not eliminate it. Transferring does not mean in disowning the risk or by transferring it to a later project or another person without his or her knowledge or agreement. Risk transfers nearly always involves payment of a risk payment to the party taking on the risk. Transferring liability for the risk is most effective in dealing with financial risk exposure. Transference tools can be quite diverse and include but are not limited to the use of insurance, performance bonds, warranties, guarantees, etc. Contracts or agreements may be used to transfer the liability for a specified risk to another party. Next is mitigate. Risk mitigation is a risk response strategy whereby the project team acts to reduce the probability of occurrence or impact of risk. It implies a reduction in the probability or impact of an adverse risk to be within acceptable threshold limits. Taking early action to reduce the probability or impact of risk occurring on the project is often more effective than trying to repair the damage after the risk has occurred. Adopting less complex processes, conducting more tests, or choosing a more stable supplier are examples of mitigation action. Mitigation may require prototype development to reduce the risk of scaling up from bench scale model of a process or product. When it is not possible to reduce probability, a mitigation response might address the risk impact by targeting linkages that determine the severity. For example, designing redundancy into system may reduce the impact from failure of the original component. Next is accept. Acceptance is a risk response strategy whereby the project team decides to acknowledge the risk and not to take any action unless risk occurs. This strategy is adopted to where it is not possible or cost effective to address a specific risk in any other way. This strategy indicates that the project team has decided not to change the project management plan to deal with the risk or is unable to identify any other suitable response strategy. This strategy can be either passive or active. Passive acceptance requires no action except to document the strategy, leaving the project team to deal with the risk as they occur and to periodically review the threat to ensure that it does not change significantly. The most common active acceptance strategy is to establish a contingency reserve, including amount of time, money, or resources to handle the risk. The next strategy is for positive risk or opportunity. The first action which you could take is exploit. The exploit strategy may be selected for risk with a positive impact where the organization wishes to ensure that the opportunity is realized. This strategy seeks to eliminate the uncertainty associated with particular upside risk by ensuring the opportunities definitely happen. Example of directly exploiting responses include assigning an organization's most talented resources to the project to reduce the time to completion or using new methodology or technology upgrades to reduce cost and duration required to realize project objectives. Next action is enhance. The enhance strategy is used to increase the probability or the positive impacts of an opportunity. Identifying and maximizing key drivers of this positive impact risk may increase the probability of their occurrence. Example of enhancing opportunity include adding more resources to an activity to finish early. The next action is share. Sharing a positive risk involves allocating some or all of the ownership of the opportunity to a third party who is best able to capture the opportunity for the benefit of the project. Example of sharing action include forming risk sharing partnership teams, special purpose companies or joint ventures which can be established with the express purpose of taking advantage of the opportunity so that all parties gain from their action. Accept is accepting an opportunity is being willing to take advantage of the opportunity if it arises, but not actively pursuing it. The next tool and technique used for planning risk responses is contingent response strategy. Some responses are designed for use only if certain events occur. For some risk, it is appropriate for the project team to make response plan that will only be executed under certain predefined condition if it is believed that there will be sufficient warning to implement the plan. Events that trigger the contingency response, such as missing intermediate milestone or gaining higher priority with suppliers, should be defined and tracked. Risk responses identified using the technique are often called contingency plan or fallback plan and include identified triggering events that set the plan in effect. Next technique is expert judgment is an input from knowledgeable parties pertaining to the actions to be taken on a specific and defined risk. Expertise may be provided by any group or person with specialized education, knowledge, skill, experience, or training in establishing the risk responses. The output is project management plan updates and the elements of project management plan that may be updated as a result of carrying out the planned risk response include schedule management plan, cost management plan, quality management plan, procurement management plan, human resource management plan, scope baseline, schedule baseline, and cost baseline. So guys, I hope you got some idea on how to plan risk responses. So come back to my channel or subscribe to my channel for more videos on PMP and other things. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon.